Radical 2x plus 1 minus radical x is equal to 1. Now, this is an equation. We have to solve it and check the extraneous solution, right? Okay, now, I told you before, like a video before, that when you have more than one radical sign in one side, you have to avoid this, because once you make square both sides, you will have radical again. Okay? So try to keep one radical sign on one side and bring the other radical to the other side. Now here we have two radical signs. We take radical x to the other side. It becomes radical 2x plus 1 equals to 1 plus radical x. Now, if we do squaring both sides, okay, do square both sides, what would happen? The first side of the equation, radical and square, would cancel each other. You're left by 2x plus 1. Now, here is a problem. The problem here that we have to do square of the first, square of the second, and 2 times first times second, and look what will happen. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times first times second. 2 times 1 is 2, times radical x is 2 radical x, plus second square, radical x all squared. Radical x all squared, you know that radical x all squared, it gives you what? X. So we get x. Oh, so here radical x appears again. So we have to do another step, or like square both sides again, okay, to cancel the radical x. But in this case, to cancel the radical x, we should keep radical x on one side alone and move everything to the other side. So as we said, we have 2x plus 1 equal to 1 plus 2 radical x plus x. We take x's and numbers to the other side and we leave the radical on one side. So here we have 2x, we say 2x plus 1. Plus 1, take it to the other side, you get minus 1. Plus x, take it to the other side, you get minus x is equal to radical x. Now let's simplify. 2x minus x, you get x. Plus 1 minus 1, 0 is equal to 2 radical x. Now here we have 1 radical x, and here we have only one term. So we can square again both sides. Square both sides again. Look what would happen. If we do square here and we do square here, what we get? X squared is x squared equal 2 squared is 4. Radical x all squared is x. So don't forget the 2. 2 also have squared. 2 squared 4, radical x squared, you get x. Now we have x squared equal to 4x. This is a quadratic equation. Bring everything to one side, equal to 0, and factorize. So you get x squared minus 4x equal to 0. Okay? We take common factor. What's the common factor we can take here? X. Very good. Okay, we take x common factor. That's x common factor. You left x minus 4 equal to 0. So from here you get x is equal to 0, or x is equal to 4. Very good. So x minus 4 equals 0, x equals to 4. Now we have two solutions. We have to check them in the main equation and check if they both satisfy the equation. Let's try first. Check x equals to 0. Let's write the equation. Radical 2, replace x by 0, plus 1 minus radical 0 equals to 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So you get radical 1 minus radical 0 is 0, is equal to 1. So 1 equals to 1, which is true. So we can say that x equal to 0 is a solution. So this is accepted. Let's try also check x equals to 4. Radical 2 bracket, we put 4 instead of x, plus 1 minus radical 4 equals to 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9, radical 9 is 3, minus radical 4 is 2, equals to 1. So 1 is equal to 1. Also true. Good. So both of them are accepted. So we can say that we have no extraneous solution, because all solutions we get are accepted. Now, question number 2. Find the values of x and y express in simplest form? Okay, this is the question. I drew a triangle here just to show you the idea about 30, 60, 90, just as a reminder. We remember that when we have triangle 30, 60, 90, okay, we say that the hypotenuse is the longest side, okay? So if the hypotenuse is the longest side, look, hypotenuse is facing 90. So usually we make comparison between sides. If the hypotenuse, let's say it's equal to A, okay, then the side facing 30 is half of the length of the hypotenuse, which is A over 2, okay? That's a rule, okay? And we explained this before, but now just as a reminder, always the shortest side is half the longest one. Like the longest one is A, the shortest one is A over 2. The third side, which is between, is A over 2 radical 3, okay? So it's the hypotenuse divided by 2 multiplied by radical 3. Clear? Okay. Now this is a rule. Okay, whatever the side is, let's say this one was 4. So this would be 4 over 2, which is 2. This would be 4 over 2 radical 3, which is 2 radical 3. Okay? So this is an example. Now we have here triangle. We have 30, 60, 90. Okay, so which one is the longest side here?
The base.
2 radical 3, which is the hypotenuse. The shortest one is x. So we have a relation between the longest and the shortest. The shortest is equal to the longest one divided by 2. So x is equal 2 radical 3, which is the longest side, divided by 2, which is equal to radical 3. Okay, there is a relation between the shortest and the last one, which is the between, with y. So y is equal to this side times radical 3. As we said, this side is equal to the shortest times radical 3, which is A over 2 times radical 3. Right. Let's say y equal to the shortest, which is x times radical 3. X radical 3, which is equal. How much did we get x? Radical 3. So it's radical 3 times radical 3 again, which is equal to radical 3 by radical 3 is radical 3 squared, which is 3. Cancel radical, you get 3. Okay? This is regarding 30, 60, 90. Now, with respect to the triangle 45, 45, 90, we have a relation between the hypotenuse and each leg of the triangle. The hypotenuse, if we consider it, let's say in general A, okay, sorry, the side is A, the hypotenuse is A radical 2. It's longer than, the hypotenuse is longer than the legs, right? It's longer than the legs. So if the leg is A, the hypotenuse is A radical 2. If the side is S, this is S radical 2. Okay? So we can write, let's say, hypotenuse equal leg times radical 2. This is, let's consider that as a formula. Okay? And we put, or we say not leg, we say side times radical 2. Okay? This is an expression. You can write it in any form you want. Okay? But this is actually like it considered hypotenuse. Okay? Represent the hypotenuse. S represent the side or the leg. So, how much the hypotenuse you have? Or you can find like the the simplest part. Like here we have 2 radical 2. Since it is 45, 45, then how much is y? Is 2 radical 2 also. They are equal. Now what about x? So we say hypotenuse equal s times radical 2. How much is the hypotenuse? X equal. How much is the side? 2 radical 2 times, we have also radical 2 again. So 2 radical 2 times radical 2 is equal 2 times. Radical 2 by radical 2 is 2. Cancel the radical. So you get 2 times 2. How much is 2 times 2? It's equal to 4. Okay? So if we say it in another way, let's say this one, I'm just give you the opposite way. If we have the hypotenuse and we need to find the side of the triangle, okay? Let's say this is the hypotenuse, okay? And we say this is x. So here we have the hypotenuse 2 radical 2. As we mentioned before, we write hypotenuse equal S times radical 2. Hypotenuse equal side times radical 2. How much is the hypotenuse? 2 radical 2 equal. How much is the side? We don't know. X radical 2. Now we want to find x. How do you find x? If 2 radical 2 equal x radical 2, divide by radical 2, divide by radical 2. So you get cancel. You get x is equal to 2. X is equal to 2. And since we have x and y are equal, so y is equal to 2 also.